Hey you guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Today, obviously by the title, today's video we are going to be talking about all of the books that I read in 2023. I'm gonna be giving y'all like a little spark notes of it, my opinion, my rating, everything like that. Let me preface with the fact that I did just start getting into my reading era this year. So there's not a lot of books on this list, but part of my New Year's resolutions, which I will be making a video of either before or after this one, I plan on reading at least one book a month. So now that I've gotten to my reading era this year, I'm definitely going to try to go full-fledged into that in the upcoming year. So next year I plan on reading a lot more books, but these are the few books that I read this year, stepping my foot into my reading era. So here they all are. Here is my books of 2023. The first book I read of the year was The Dangerous Art of Blending In. I will put it right here. The first few books that I read in the year, I rented from my local library, so I don't have physical copies of them. So I'll just put a picture up here. But then the last few that I read in the year, I bought because now I'm in my buying books era, so I'll hold it up. But yeah, so my first book that I read of the year was The Dangerous Art of Blending In, I believe it's called. So this is about a boy in high school. Also, let me preface this with I like teeny bopper reads. My life is too fucking serious, IRL, for me to read some serious ass book. I like teeny bopper reads. Okay, so this book is about a boy in high school, senior year of high school, I believe, and he is struggling with the fact that he is gay, and he has feelings for his best friend, who's obviously a boy. And on top of dealing with his sexuality and being in love with his best friend, yada yada, his mom is a crazy religious freak. She's abusive as fuck. And without spoiling anything, he's just trying to navigate not only his sexuality within himself, but dealing with his psychotic parents with the sexuality thing, dealing with being in love with his best friend with the sexuality thing. It does have a happy ending, which I love. I really loved the book because it gives you all of the fucking feels. Like, it was a very emotional book, I feel like, but happy, sad, you know, not just sad. It was happy, sad, funny, lighthearted, super heavy. Like, it was just a really, really good book. And this is the book that I read and I was like, okay, yeah, I love reading again. Like, when I read it, I remember being like, this is a 10 out of motherfucking 10. I don't know if I would say it was a 10 out of 10 now because this was a really long time ago, but it was still a fucking great book, especially if you do want to read like an LGBTQ book. I loved this book. I actually loved this book. I fell in love with the character, and his struggles, like I said, were just amazing. The next book that I read was The Summer I Turned Pretty, the first book. I didn't like this fucking book. It was boring as fuck. It was boring. This book was boring as fuck. Like, okay, I love the TV show. I love the TV show. How someone read that book and thought, yeah, I love this, let's make it into a TV show, I don't understand. If I read that book, I would be like, okay, I'm never thinking about that ever again. Like, the fact that somebody thought that book was so good that they turned it into a TV show is shocking to me. It's shocking to me. I just thought the book was so boring. Like, the TV show's not boring at all, but the book was so fucking boring. Like, I don't even remember most of it because it was so boring. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, nothing happened. I swear to God, nothing fucking happened in that book. So if you like the Summer I Turned Pretty TV show and you think, ooh, I should read the books, no, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. Just watch the TV show. Nothing happens in the books. You don't get any new information either. It's not like, oh, you get to see like this inner dialogue and this. No. Belly was so annoying in the book too. Belly was annoying and delusional in the book. In the show, but I don't think Belly's annoying. In the book, she was so fucking annoying and like immature. And also like in the show, you could see how she thinks that her and Conrad have a little tension, you know? But in the book, you're like, girl, you think he likes you from what? You're grasping at straws. They don't even interact and you think he likes you? Like, yeah, no, she's crazy in the book too. It's just not good. I don't like the book. So I didn't read 2 or 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty. The next book I read, I think it's called The Places we went, the places we'll go, the places we've never been, the places we've never gone. I'll put the picture up here. I actually read this before The Summer I Turned Pretty, and the whole time reading it, I was like, this reminds me of something. Like, I read this book before I read The Summer I Turned Pretty, but I had watched the show. And as I was reading this book, I was like, this fucking reminds me of something. This is so familiar. What does this remind me of? What does this remind me of? Like, I know this. I'm getting deja vu. And then I read The Summer I Turned Pretty book, and I was like, oh, that's what this is. This is exactly like The Summer I Turned Pretty book. Like, identical. The tropes and everything. One of the moms the moms are best friends. One of the moms gets cancer. The girl falls in love with the other family's boy. The best friend and the brother. Like, I swear to God, every single trope and every single thing that happens in The Summer I Turned Pretty, they put into this book. And it actually kind of pissed me off once I realized that, because it was so obvious that they were copying. Like, honestly, more shit happened in this book than The Summer I Turned Pretty. But it was just, like, annoying, because I'm like, y'all literally just copied that shit. Y'all literally just and this book wasn't even that good. It wasn't even that good. Like, these two back to back were flops for me. Like, flops. And I think I went into a reading slump after this, because I was like, what the fuck? I need to reevaluate. The next book I read, I think, was The Girl in the Picture. I actually liked this book. This book was the first book that I read where each chapter was narrated by somebody different, and I realized that that's like one of my favorite types of writing styles. Like, when one chapter is from this character's POV and then the next chapter's from another character's POV, like, that's awesome to me. Love that. I really enjoy that type of reading, because I feel like you can't get bored with that, because you're getting two people's stories of one story, basically. I liked this. It was like a mystery. Like, this kid dies in their school. You're trying to figure out who did it. And, like, the two suspects, basically, is his girlfriend and his mistress, or his ex-girlfriend and his girlfriend and his mistress, basically. But they're in high school. And there's just, like, it's a complex relationship. Sometimes you think she did it. Sometimes you think she did it. You're trying to figure out who did it. And then they obviously tell you who did it at the end, and you're shocked. You're like, oh my God, it's tea. The whole book is tea. I actually really enjoyed this book. This is my first, like, mystery book that I read, and I really actually fucking enjoyed it. I have physical copies of the next two books, but I'm too fucking lazy to get up and grab them. So the next book I read was Icebreaker. Can we please get a round of applause for Icebreaker? Please, for the love of God, can we get a round of applause for Icebreaker? Please, moment of silence for Icebreaker. Carry on. Okay, this fucking cover looks like a children's book. This cover looks like a children's book, but when I tell you, it's so far from a children's book. Okay, so the smut in this book is very nice. This was the first smut book I've ever read. I just saw all over my TikTok For You page for like 4 months straight, debating on getting it, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go get it. And thank God I did. Thank God I did. First of all, the characters, I love. The characters are amazing. Okay, so basically, it's about a girl who is a figure ice skater and a boy who is a hockey player. They're both at college, which I love that it's set in college, because a lot of the scenes are set at like college parties and like college functions, bars, stuff like that. And I like, because I'm in college, so I'm like, I can put myself in it, you know, even though I'm not doing that shit, I can put myself in it. And, you know, they have 2 ice rinks, one for the ice skaters, one for the hockey players, but then one of them get fucked up, so now they have forced proximity. Now they have to start practicing on the same ice skating rink, and he's the captain of the hockey team. She's like the it girl figure skater, so obviously they start, you know, butting heads, but then fall in love, and it is amazing. And okay, so Icebreaker is a series, right? The next book of Icebreaker is Wildfire, and then that's already been released, which I read, which we'll get into in a second. And then after that, it is, I think, Daydream. She hasn't released it yet. She releases it in June. But basically, every single book of the Icebreaker series is about a different friend in the friend group, but all the people always make cameos in the book. So, like, this one was about Nate and Anastasia, whatever. But, like, throughout the whole entire Icebreaker book, you get to know all of their friend group, right? All of their friend group. And so somebody in that friend group gets picked out to be the basis of book number 2. Somebody in that friend group gets picked out to be basis of number 3. So, and it's always like a hockey player, which I love that it's a hockey player. I love hockey men now. I love hockey men. But yeah, it's the ending of Icebreaker was so good. I was screaming in my bed reading the last chapter. I was like, ah! It was so good. The smut is so tasteful and so good. Nate is the best boyfriend ever. I love Nate. I love Nate. I love Nate. I love Nate. I love this book. Please go read it. Please go read it. And then the next book I read was Wildfire, which is the second book of the Icebreaker series. I didn't like this book as much. And, like, I really tried not comparing it to Icebreaker, but, like, bitch, it's the series, it's the next one, so it's hard not to compare it. But even, like, not comparing it, I don't know, I just felt like it was kind of slow. So this one is about, so this book is about Russ and Aurora. So Russ we knew from book 1, as I mentioned. It's about, every book is about somebody different in the hockey team friend group. And Russ, like, we knew from book 1, and you find out in book 2, like, he just has a really, really tough home life, right? But he's, like, this really, really quiet, really, really, like, sweet guy. Like, just a sweetheart. He's just a sweetie. He's just a traumatized sweetie. And he meets this girl at a party, you know, end of school year party at the hockey boys' house. They hook up. One night stand, she runs away. Like, you know, they never see each other again. Until they are both counseling at the same camp. And obviously this summer camp has a no fraternizing rule for staff, but obviously they fraternize, so it's like forbidden, forced proximity, yada yada yada. The reason I didn't necessarily love this book, like, it was okay, I didn't finish it, honestly. I got to a point when I was reading it where I was like, I can't read anymore, so I skipped to the last chapter, because the last chapter is always like 8 years later, 5 years later. You know, it shows you how they end up in the future. Same with both of the books were like that. So I ended up skipping a bunch of chapters and just skipped to the last chapter. Happy ending again, cool. You get a lot of insight, though, about what happens between now and then, because, like, I think it was Henry was with kids, Anastasia had another kid, like, everybody, like, you could see how people ended up, which I really, really liked. I like that she does that with all of her books. She flashes forward so you can see how they are in the future. Love that. Anywho, the reason I feel like I didn't love this book and I felt like I was bored was because you're at camp. There's not much you can do. Icebreaker, for instance, was at college. There was parties. Like, there was always something going on. Wildfire, I just felt like since it was at camp, like, there wasn't really much that you could do. You know what I mean? So it got kind of repetitive, everything that they were doing. I just got bored. And then Aurora, honestly, she, like, was kind of annoying to me. Like, this is Aurora every 5 minutes. Yeah, I have daddy issues. Yeah, I just have daddy issues. Like, she just was annoying as fuck to me, honestly. She brought up the fact that she has daddy issues every single 5 minutes. And, like, she got better as the book went on, but I don't know if the writer, Hannah Grace, just wanted you to really, really know that she had daddy issues, so at the beginning of the book she said it every 5 minutes, but it was fucking annoying. She kind of rubbed my gears wrong. But yeah, it was just kind of boring to me because it's at camp. Like, again, there's not much that you can do. There was smut in this book, but again, I just liked Icebreaker better, but it was still good. And unfortunately, that is all the books that I read this year. I started a few more, but I've been in kind of a slump, I think, because right now, I'm about to go to Barnes & Noble right now, because all the books I have right now are, like, college romance smut books, which I love, sports specifically, which I love, but right now, I just watched Bridgerton, so I'm really in my, like, I really, really, really want to read, like, a period piece, like, high-class England romance book, so I'm about to go to Barnes & Noble right now and get myself one, but I doubt I'll finish it within the next few days. So that was all the books that I read this year and how I felt about them. Next year, hopefully this list will be a lot longer, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any book recommendations for me, please give them to me. I love to hear them. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.